Hello everyone, Religious Fanboy here again. And today we're discussing the ways in which discussing the lessons and themes, the Christian lessons and themes that are paralleled in the lessons and themes of episodes. One of the main themes in the last four episodes of to- of Promised Neverland, the theme that we are discussing today is the process of allowing ourselves to experience unpleasant seasons of life, especially in the context of what we will be talking about today, the process of mourning and the grieving process. Um, the main passage, which I will go ahead and read the full chapter. I believe this is the NIV, I think. Um, the chapter, the verse we will be focusing in on is chapter 7, the book of Ecclesiastes, specifically verse 4. I'm gonna start reading verse 1. A good reputation is more valuable than costly perfume, and the day you die is better than the day you are born. Better to spend your time at funerals than at parties. After all, everyone dies, so the living should take this to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, and sadness has a refining influence on us. A wise person thinks a lot about death, while a fool thinks only about having a good time. Better to be criticized by a wise person than to be praised by a fool. A fool's laughter is quickly gone, like thorns crackling in a fire. This is also meaningless. Exhortation turns wise people into fools, and bribes corrupt the heart. Finishing is better than starting. Patience is better than pride. Control your temper, for anger labels you a fool. Don't long for the good old days. This is not wise. Wisdom is even better when you have money. Both are a benefit as you go through life. Wisdom and money can get you almost anything, but only wisdom can save your life. Accept the way God does things, for who can straighten what he has made crooked? Enjoy prosperity while you can, but when hard times strike, realize that both come from God. Remember that nothing is certain in this life. I have seen everything in this meaning. I've in actually I am just gonna finish. I'm gonna actually stop at verse 14. Um as we can see in episode 8 and episode 9, we and up until the very end of season 1, we see the tragic revelations and the increasing sense of hopelessness to the children that are aware of the actual goings ons, such as Dawn and Gilda and Emma and Ray, especially as Norman returns to the house after finding out that there was a trench on the other side of the wall, and that the only way to get out was through the main entrance that attached to a bridge. And we see in these episodes that Norman is sold to the monsters, and for the end of episode, for about the last 10 minutes of episode 9 and going on till about uh, episode 12, episode 11, we see multiple days pass, and like it says in verse 4, which I'm gonna reread in the ESV, where it says, "The heart of the wise is in the house of the morning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth," which we see this paralleled in the responses of the children following the departure and death of Norman, where Don and Gilda, and especially Ray and Emma, are going through a painful grieving period, and we hear kids talk in response that been had gotten past, which we could assume at this point that they did not know the weight of the situation and the true wicked and evil intentions behind the farm. And we see how this creates division in their ability to, right now they kind of have this mindset of the concept of ignorance being bliss. This is also the illusion that Isabella and the other mothers in the other farms are instructed to create, where, much like the House of Marith, which in the lexicons have been defined as and related to laugh, a, a position of laughter, like being like a current state of being in an action of great amusement or laughter. And one of the lexicons even said amusement or laughter to death, which as we have seen, especially in episode 8, is a great way of coming up with a simple explanation for the illusion and deception Isabel creates for the children she raises on the farm to be one day food. And but we also, in the next talking point and the main idea that I've interpreted from this passage on in regards to the benefit of allowing ourselves to mourn and being with those that are mourning and how that relates to wisdom, we also see paralleled in these episodes, especially what we find out in episode 12 with Norman, not with Phil, where Phil has been a very positive and cheerful kid, but as we see through these final 4 episodes, Phil is becoming more aware of the older kids, especially Emma, and especially following the passing of Norman. And he sits with her more, and we find out that he's the only one under five under five. I think he's 4. Yeah, when he is told the truth about the farm while Emma is mourning. And we also see how Emma and Ray's interactions with each other and the parting words that are in the form of plan that Norman gave in their relation to Phil and Dawn and Gilda are able to encourage them and continue to help them. And we also see how Ray and Emma are nurtured by the other kids in this, as well as because of them having more trusted friends that already know at this point, they are able to have plans developed. Like during this perceived month, we while we are seeing in the foreground the still mourning and pursuit of the hope that had been lost by Ray and Emma, that Dawn and Gilda have been telling more people more of the older kids that they intend to take in order to buy time as far as shipments go. And we also were able to see how throughout this show, even though knowledge of the truth, like we talked about last week, has created much conflict, and as we see, especially in these 4 episodes, lots of suffering and pain and loss. we see how they have developed the necessary wisdom, and we see them as they leave the season of mourning, which to the point where it's and enter while still mourning a new season of action in order to help save the kids at the farm. We still see the concept of them mourning in a more subtle way, where we see Norman and like the memories of Norman being an encourager for Ray and Emma, and how these kids have benefited from their knowledge and wisdom they have nur- nurtured and grown through their relationships with each other, in their ability to overcome and latch on to any hope that they had found in order to be encouraged and continue to do what they can to save the children. And we see that through Ray's Ray being the one who would have focused more on his own survival, being the one to help zipline with the little girl who became horrified and frozen in fear at the concept of ziplining across the trench in episode 12. And with that being said, I hope and pray that you are able to find and have good Christian friends and family in your life and mentors that you can go to and lean on. God has placed us in the time, in the places that we are in order for us to grow and in order for us to help others grow. And I hope and pray that God reveals to you more and more of his plan, and that you are faithful and courageous and have the hope that allows you to, even in hard times and times where it is appropriate and necessary to mourn, to be able to allow yourself to mourn and grieve in a healthy way, as while still maintaining hope and faith in order to go forward and do what is needed in order to grow and continue to be more like Jesus and do what God has called us to do. And with that being said, I hope and pray that you took away from these episodes. I still recommend that, with the disclaimer that I've given in other videos in which we've covered this show, to, if you are worried that I tried to make the series to use it as illustration, and not straight up review, so it's not in order to not make it feel necessary that you've watched the episodes. But if you do watch the episodes and enjoyed them, that is cool. And I hope you got what God intended for you to take away from them. And if that is a worry for you and would like someone to watch those with you as a way of comfort, if you fear that this show could be a trigger for spiritual warfare, I would hope that would not be the case. But if that is something that you struggle with, I am praying for you. And I hope, and with that being said, may God be with you, and I will see you next time. Bye.